Folks, the Tokyo Auto Salon for 2026 has happened. Subaru's big announcement and reveal happened just a mere few hours ago, and we had to come and talk about it. Now, leading up to this, the big expectation was, okay, an STI is going to be revealed, and kind of as we expected, actually no, exactly as we expected, what they're calling now the STI in Japan is the TS that we have here, the WRX TS. Basically, it's identical. It does not have the STI 6-speed. It does not have the DCCD. It is the same as our TS. And that's okay. It's a little disappointing, maybe. But there's so many other exciting things that we just found out that we're still trying to figure out what it all means. The big pieces, the two big bullet points are, one, the Concept B, the STI Concept B that we saw a couple of months ago, is Subaru's new Super Taikyu car. That new Super Taikyu car was on display at the Tokyo Auto Salon, and in Subaru's press release about the car, it clearly says that it's a 2.4-liter direct-injected turbocharged engine, so it's basically the FA24 DIT that is in that car, and they have the full race car built, and in fact their first race is 2 months from now, in March. So they had the hood open, there's lots of shots of the engine bay, like it is definitely basically, you know, the Concept B that we saw as their Super Taikyu car with, you know, the wide body flares on the Impreza chassis and the FA24 turbo engine in it. What does that mean? We're going to get back to that. The other big piece of information that we saw, or the cool thing that we saw, is the new engine in the BRZ GT300. So Subaru announced that they were going to be replacing the EJ engine that they've been running for a number of years. This was an EJ20 that was based on the WRC engine. They had a couple of engine failures that cost them some big results in the 2025 season, I think a first place and a second place. Because of the results that they lost, they've started development on a new engine, and they fully put it on display, and it is a twin-turbo 3-liter 6-cylinder engine that is now going to be running in the BRZ GT300, which is crazy. And the turbos are sitting on top. Everything it's on display, but everything is covered, and we cannot figure out exactly what all of this means or how this all works, but it's a pretty crazy engine package. So honestly, like, both of these pieces of information are more interesting than just what the STI reveal was, for a couple of reasons. The first one is with this BRZ engine, twin-turbo 6-cylinder. So many people were calling for a 6-cylinder engine or a twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine in this new combustion engine STI. It is interesting that it is now in the BRZ. The engine in the BRZ GT300 was never really anything that they tried to make for production. Why are they doing this now? Basically, Subaru now does not have a 6-cylinder engine in production, except for now what is in the BRZ GT300. It's probably fully bespoke. I mean, oddly enough, it could be some modified version of the EZ30, maybe. But I think with the turbos and the way that everything is sitting, it almost looks like it's like a hot H setup, or like maybe the exhaust valves are on the top. I don't know. It's weird. We're trying to figure out how this thing works. Why would Subaru put the 6-cylinder engine in the car? And what does that mean? Is there a possibility that there's going to be a 6-cylinder coming back somewhere in Subaru's lineup, maybe for an STI? Very interesting. The second part of the puzzle is the fact that the STI Concept B is their Super Taikyu car. The big question in my mind is, why did they reveal it as an STI concept first, just a couple of months ago, only to now reveal that it is their Super Taikyu car? Does this mean that it is more likely to go into production or less likely? Is it possible that this would explain why there's never any discussion of a combustion engine STI coming back, even like a month prior to the Japan Mobility Show for the big US dealers meeting. There's no mention of a combustion engine STI. Well, maybe it's because it was this race car that they've been developing for a while, and they just decided to put it out there as an STI concept. Maybe that's why we haven't heard so much about it. I don't know. It seems like this could go either way. That because it's the Super Taikyu car, this makes it more likely that it's going to be actually something like that is going to come into production, or maybe it means that they never even intended this to come into production. This is just basically a race car version of the Impreza that they're going to run in Super Taikyu, and that's it. We're going to have to wait and see on that one. Both of these are really interesting developments. And then the last piece of this puzzle, I think, the thing that we have to watch now in 2026 is the big US auto shows, like the New York Auto Show, LA Auto Show, Detroit, I don't know, whatever the really big ones are. What we need to see is, does Subaru bring any of these STI concepts over? Do they bring them both? Do they only bring one? Do they not bring them at all? Because if one of the things that's most interesting about the STI reveal in Japan as our WRX TS is we got it first. That's almost never happened before. Japan has typically been the preferred market for Subaru, and then the US we get everything later. But now we got the WRX TS first. Now they're calling it the STI there. And so the US is the biggest market for Subaru by and far. So maybe we're now getting some preferential treatment here. That's a big positive, I think, from the fact that, well, what we found out about the WRX TS and the STI reveal. Now the question is how does that translate into what they're doing with these concepts? So we need to see, does Subaru bring the concepts over here? Are they going to pay attention to what the people in the US that see these cars think about them, what American journalists think about these cars, what we write about them? Or is this something that Subaru is still really trying to figure out a lot of stuff in the background as far as what their next direction is? And maybe we don't see either of these concepts. So that's really the big question mark now, especially seeing what we've seen with the Concept B, which is the Super Taikyu car, and the engine that's in the BRZ GT300. What does this mean for the future? Honestly, I have more questions at the end of this than we have answers, but there's some really cool stuff, really neat motorsport stuff going on with BRZ GT300. So I think there's stuff to get excited about, but Subaru, you got to let us know what it means. Again, let us behind the curtain, give us some idea of what you're thinking about, or at least what you're wondering. And I don't think there's any Subaru enthusiasts here in the States that would be shy about telling you what we want or what we think, and we're exactly the same. So yeah, really interesting stuff. Let us know in the comments what you think, because these two developments are pretty wild. So it could be big stuff. I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay tuned to Flatiron Institute.